Hey guys, it's Hermit. With Changli's banner just a few days from releasing, let's take a look at the second banner for Wuthering Waves version 1.1, Vermilion's Ploy, and decide whether or not you should pull for Changli. By the way, if you guys enjoy these kinds of videos and want to see more, do consider liking the video and subscribing as it really helps out the channel. Thanks for the support and let's get started. First, we'll talk about Changli's playstyle to see if it's something you would enjoy playing. Her playstyle focuses around her stacking her forte gauge with attacks in her true sight form that she can gain access to through many different ways. She can gain access to her true sight form with her intro skill, resonance skill, basic attack sequences, and mid-air attack sequences. When her forte gauge is full, she can consume all of the stacks to deal massive damage around her, making her a great damage dealer. Her outro skill also buffs the next character to take the field's fusion damage and resonance liberation damage, giving her support capabilities as well. Now, with Changli's playstyle out of the way, let's talk about how much value does Changli actually give to you and your account, and do you actually need her? If you have either Encore or Chisha built, I think Changli will provide the most value for you, as she's an excellent buffer for both Encore and Chisha, while also being able to dish out high damage herself. So you can run Changli with either of them for a duo DPS team. If you have no intentions of using Encore or Chisha, I do feel like her value drops a little, but that isn't to say you shouldn't pull her. You just lose an option that you could have used Changli in. She could still work in a hyper carry team where the whole team is focused on buffing Changli's personal damage and using Changli as your main DPS. And I do feel she'll still provide value for anyone who pulls her, as you likely want a team or main damage dealer for every element in the endgame, as a Tower of Adversity has buffs that boost specific elements depending on the current banner, so having a team for every element would help tremendously for clearing the tower. Because Changli is our first limited fusion damage dealing unit, it would be a safe investment to go for her, as well as the fact that she buffs fusion damage and liberation damage with her outro skill, making her more flexible in many teams other than just being purely a main DPS. Now let's quickly talk about her banner and the featured 4 stars that will be running alongside her. First, we have Mortify, who is easily the best 4-star on the banner. Mortify provides loads of off-field damage through his Resonance Liberation, which allows Mortify to do coordinated attacks, dealing a buttload of damage. His outro skill also gives the next Resonator a heavy attack damage deepen, making him an amazing support for Jian if you have him. If you don't have Jian, he can still be used with other characters such as Jinxi, who loves coordinated attacks, Don Jin, who can make use of his heavy attack damage deepen, and Janshin, who has synergy with Mortefi's Liberation, proccing the coordinated attacks whenever it's up, and possibly working with Changli's fusion damage and resonance liberation damage buffs, although the buffs do disappear when Mortefi is swapped off the field. And Baiji is another great 4-star who's on the banner, as she's basically a mini Verena. She provides team-wide buffs, healing, and her Resonance Liberation provides off-field damage, and her sequences improve her supporting capabilities. Baiji is a good option to run in your 3rd slot if you don't have Verena yet or you're using her in other teams. She can be used to fill a similar role to Verena. And the last featured 4-star on Changli's banner is Tao Chi. Although Tao Chi provides shields for the team and a resonance skill damage deepen on her outro, I feel like there are better options for your support slot like Verena, Baiji, and Janshin. She feels very niche and hasn't really found her team that works well with her yet. However, there are still 2 really massive reasons to use her. But yeah, overall the 4 stars on the banner are solid, and getting copies of them is great for any account. Now, moving on to Changli's sequences, are they worth it? Here are all of Changli's sequences on the screen, and in my opinion, the most notable ones are her sequence 2, 4, and 6. Her sequence 2 increases her crit rate by 25% for 8 seconds whenever she gets a stack of enflamement, which is pretty much going to always be active, making it fairly easy to get good crit ratios on her. And her sequence 4 further boosts her supporting capabilities by increasing the entire team's attack by 20% for 30 seconds when casting her intro skill. I feel like this is going to be a really insane sequence if you're running Changli in a duo DPS setup like with Chisha or Encore. And lastly, her sequence 6 allows Changli to basically ignore 40% of the target's defense when dealing damage. which is crazy. We don't really have anything like this in the game so far. This will allow her to shred enemies by ignoring their defense. Now, I don't think sequences are necessary for Changli, but they're powerful and you can't go wrong if you decide to get them. Now, let's take a look at the weapon banner for her signature weapon, Blazing Brilliance. It's obviously really good for Changli as it gives a lot of crit damage with its substat, and its passive grants her attack percent and skill damage bonus, making it perfect for Changli. Do note that from calculations I've seen, the standard 5-star weapon, Emerald of Genesis, only performs about 20% worse than her signature, Blazing Brilliance. And also, if you're planning to play Changli in a quick swap team, swapping characters will drop the stacks on the weapon, making it pretty much just a stat stick in that scenario, and closer to the Emerald of Genesis. So overall, if you're willing to invest potentially 80 pulls that you could have used to get a limited character for her weapon, only you can decide if that's worth it for you. As for the 4-star weapons on the banner, first we have the Comet Flare, which isn't really useful for anyone right now outside of Baiji. But Baiji already prefers another 4-star rectifier in the variation, so I feel like this weapon is not really going to impact your account that much. Next, we have the Overture, which is the sword version of the variation as it allows you to get your Concerto up quickly. Now this weapon I feel like will be better in the future when we get more sword units who benefit from its passive to get their Concerto skills off. Like how the variation is Verina's best in slot, I feel like we don't really have any sword users who benefit from this weapon right now, but in the future there's bound to be one. And the last weapon on the banner, the Undying Flame, is a good damage dealing pistol with an attack percent substat and a passive that increases resonance skill damage. It's an option that you can use on your pistol DPSs or sub DPSs if you don't have the 5-star standard pistol Static Mist yet. So for the weapon banner, I don't really think you should be pulling for any of the 4 stars, and you should only pull on this banner if you really want the Blazing Brilliance for your Changli. And that's pretty much it. Overall, Changli is a highly flexible unit who can be used in a variety of team compositions and playstyles. Whether you want to utilize her as a main DPS, sub DPS, or a powerful support, she can offer immense value with her unique abilities and buffs. Her capability to deal massive damage while also enhancing the damage output of other characters makes her a versatile choice for any player. Additionally, the 4-star characters on her banner are incredibly powerful and can significantly bolster your team. Ultimately, whether you think Changli is worth your hard-earned pulls depends on your current roster and playstyle preferences. If you enjoy flexible characters who can fit into multiple roles, then pulling Changli might be a wise investment. However, if your account already has solid DPSs and support units, you might want to consider saving your pulls for future banners. Remember, pulling for characters is not just about their immediate value, but also how they can fit into your long-term strategy and team building plans. I hope this information helped you decide whether or not you're gonna pull on Changli's banner. And if you have anything you want to add or questions about the video, leave it in the comments below. And let me know if you're gonna pull for Changli or you're saving your pulls for future characters. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking the video and subscribing. It really helps me out. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you guys next time.